Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to DJ TLM TV. My name is DJ TLM and this is part 2 of my mix tutorial series. Today is all about your equipment. Like I told you in the first video, you need to know your equipment. Know what you're working with. But what I'm going to stress in this video is that it's even more important to be able to find the major features on any mixer and any player. Because you're going to end up in a situation where you play at a venue, at a party, and they're using different equipment than the stuff that you have at home. You need to be able to find all the essential functions in the first 30 seconds just by looking at the set. Now, some functions are not that easy to find because different mixers and different controllers will place them in different positions. If there's anything you can't find, ask. Just ask. Ask the DJ who's playing before you, like, where is that or that button? Don't let pride get in the way and think that you'll figure it out for yourself, because you don't want to be experimenting and looking for maybe an essential function on the mixer while you're doing your set. You want to focus on your set. So don't let pride get in the way. If you need to know anything, just ask the DJ who's playing before you, because you don't want to jeopardize the quality of your delivery. Now, let's take a closer look at the DJ set right now. So here we go, guys. It's all about knowing your equipment, and I'm going to show you the basic, most essential features on this equipment. And it does not matter that I'm using this equipment right here. I'm using two Technics SL1200 Mark II turntables, and I'm using a Pioneer DJ M900 SRT mixer. That's a 4-channel club mixer. But it doesn't matter if you have different equipment at home. The main functions are going to be the same on any mixer, any player, or if you're using a controller, then you have everything in one unit, but the basic functions are the same. And you should be able to recognize those features on any piece of equipment. So I'm going to show you on this set right here. And while I show you, you should check your own set and see if you can find those same features. And they're probably going to be in the same position or an area similar to that. Some of the functions will be in a totally different spot, and that's why it's important to know what the function is, why you need it, and which ones are the most important ones to be able to find. So let's take a look at the mixer right now. This is where all the sound comes in from all the equipment that I have connected. This is where I manipulate the sound and I control what sound I'm going to send to the speakers. So I have a 4-channel mixer. Right here I have these 4 channel strips. Now this part right here is the channel fader. I have 4 channel faders. Now these are going to be the same on any mixer. 2-channel, 4-channel. Doesn't matter how many channels, you can always recognize the faders. What they do is they make you fade the sound in and out. So you control, this is a way to control the volume and to control which sound, which song you want to be heard over the speakers. Easy to find. Now in that same channel strip where you have the fader, there's always going to be this section right here. And that section is your EQ section, your equalizer, which allows you to manipulate the sound. This controls the high, the mid, and the low frequency, the high, mid, and the low tones. Now on some devices you will have all 3, and on a lot of the cheaper devices you will have 2. So I have high, mid, and low, and yours might just have high and low. But they're used to manipulate and adjust the levels. So you can add bass or take out some bass by playing with the low tones. And sometimes you play a song and the song by itself just needs a little bit extra. So you can change the frequencies a little bit. But especially when you're mixing, you're going to be using the EQ to make 2 songs fit together better. Because if you just play them as they are and you play them together, then you might have too much bass going on. So you might want to take the bass out of one track. And we'll get into that after the beat matching. We'll get into the EQ. But that's what your EQ does. And it's always going to be in that same position. You're going to have a channel strip with a fader, and your EQ is going to be on top of that. Above the EQ, you have an extra knob on a lot of mixers. And this is your trim. On a lot of mixers, it's called gain. And this allows you to add volume or take out volume from a channel. You have your fader. When your fader is all the way up, you're playing the song at its full volume. But if the song is not loud enough, the trim will allow you to add some more volume. Or if it's just too loud, you could take your fader down a bit, but I actually don't like to play with the volume through the faders. I just use my gain. I like my trim button to use to adjust volume. But that's what it does, and that's almost every mixer will have this in the same way. So that should be easy to find on any mixer. On top of that, I have a button, and this knob right here, it's not a button, it's a knob, allows me to choose which input I want to assign to this channel, because I can connect more than one device to the input for channel 4. So in my case, I have a turntable connected, but I could also connect, for instance, a CD player or an iPod, whatever. And if I don't want to use the turntable, I just put it from phono to CD. Now, sometimes it's a knob, sometimes it's just a little button or switch. Actually, I should call it a switch. But a lot of times that will be on top or below the EQ section. Now, there are features on the mixer that I'm not going to get into right now. Like over here, I have this knob for every channel, and they're used to adjust the sound color effects. And that's a Pioneer thing that you have on some of the Pioneer mixers, but you do not need that for basic mixing. Right now, I'm just showing you the functions, the features you need for basic mixing. So you have your faders, you have your EQ section, you have your gain, your trim, and you have to assign the right input to your channel. So for instance, if you're playing somewhere and the last DJ was using different equipment, you might have to change this to a different input to hear your CDs or turntables. At the bottom, we have an extra fader. This is your Crossfader. And of course, you can use the channel faders to fade in and fade out the sound, but I like to use the Crossfader because it allows me to make faster transitions between two channels. This is a 4-channel mixer, and I can assign any channel to the A side and any channel to the B side. In my case, I'm using channel 2 and 3, my turntables. So when it's here, you hear that one. When it's here, you hear that one. And in the middle, you can hear both. I use it for mixing, but it's also very useful for scratching and advanced turntablism like beat juggling and stuff like that. If you want to know more about scratching, go check the scratch tutorials, and the beat juggle tutorials are coming soon. Now back to the channel strip. Next to every channel, you have these little strips, these LED strips. They show you how loud you're playing the music. Next to it, you have the numbers, and at the bottom it says dB, that's for decibel. It shows you at what level you're playing your music. So if I start to play this track, I can tell how loud it's playing. Green is always good. Orange means, all right, you're above green, but you're still good to go. And you see more and more orange. This means you have to take care, watch out. And once you get to 10, now you see red, and that means too much. I'll get into that when we get into the mixing, but you're gonna have that on almost any mixer, and it's gonna be on that channel strip as well. This button right here is very important, and it's not always going to be here. On my mixer, it's conveniently inside the channel strip, and that's your cue. Don't get this confused with your hot cues or cue points, because that's something else. When you see the cue button, it allows you to hear the sound from that channel through your headphone. Very important. You're going to have one song playing over the speakers, and the next song that you want to mix into it, you're going to listen to that song, cue it on your headphone first, and get the tempo right, sync it, everything. So you need to cue that channel on your headphone. Like I said, in this case, it's conveniently put in the channel strip, so it's very easy to find, and a lot of club mixers will have that. But let me see, yeah, it's here. Let me take out my favorite scratch mixer right here. This is my DJM 909. This is a 2-channel mixer. You can tell you have the channel faders right here and a crossfader. Above you have the channel strip, you have the EQ section and the trim. And this one has a switch to go from phono to line or mic, but there's no cue button right there. The cue button actually is here. You have a switch to choose if you want to hear the master output on your headphone or the Q. And if it's set to Q, that fader to that side lets me hear that channel, that side, that channel, and in the middle I can hear both. So that's a little bit different. So you're gonna have to see on your own equipment and when you go play somewhere else where to find the Q button. Now the Q is one of those things, some mixers have that in a strange position. And when I told you, don't be afraid to ask. If you can't find the Q, please ask. This is one of those most essential things. You're gonna need that for mixing. So if you can't find it, ask. Now at the bottom here, I have a few little switches, and these are used to assign a channel to the crossfader. This only applies to mixers with more than 2 channels, and that's probably always gonna be around the crossfader, in the crossfader area. Right here you have this knob, and that's your master level, and that means this controls the volume that you're sending from the mixer to the speakers, or in my case to the sound card from my computer. So if you want the overall sound to be louder or less loud, you can adjust that with your master level. And the gain, the trim on the channel strip is just to adjust the volume from one channel. A very important feature that you're gonna find on a lot of professional mixers is your booth, your monitor output level. Very important. You're not gonna need that at home, especially if you have like a smaller room. But if you're playing in a club and you have a large venue, then the sound that you're putting out is being played to the speakers, but the speakers deliver that sound, and when that sound gets to your ear, there's gonna be a little bit of delay. You don't hear the sound when it comes out the speaker because the sound is a little bit away from you as a DJ. A lot of times. Sometimes your DJ booth is in the middle of everything, so then you can't hear it correct. But a lot of times, if you're not in the middle and you're maybe on a stage and the sound is there, there's gonna be a delay between the sound coming from the speaker and reaching your ear. This is very essential if you're trying to do a mix. If I'm cueing on my headphone and I'm listening to the next song, and this one is playing over the speakers, if there's a delay from the speaker to my ear, I can't really sync my next song to what I'm hearing because my hearing is fooling me. So you want monitor speakers inside the DJ booth, close to you, so that you can hear accurately how the music actually is being played in the room. Like I said, it doesn't apply for you when you're at home, but when you're playing in a club, you need to know on the mixer where your booth, your monitor volume is, because you're gonna need to use that. So that is basically everything you need to know, because there's a lot more going on this mixer. I mean, you have a total section here that's dedicated to the 2 mics that you can plug in with mic levels, and even the EQ section for the microphones. This is for the sound color effects, but you don't need that for basic mixing. So I'm not gonna get into that, and a lot of mixers don't have mic inputs. And on this side, you have this fantastic section, and it's dedicated to the beat effects that are synced to the tempo of the song that you're playing. And you can use this strip right here with your finger to manipulate the effects, and you can choose from all kinds of effects, assign them, all very cool, but again, not essential for basic mixing. I will get into that later on, but a lot of the mixers won't have that, and if they do have it, it's gonna look totally different from this section, and it's probably gonna work totally different when it comes to different brands. One thing that you do need to know, find out where you need to plug your headphone in. Might sound simple, but you need to know because you need to plug your headphone in. It's gonna be on top, and a lot of times it's gonna be somewhere on front of the mixer, and find where the volume for the headphone is. On this one, it's right next to the input. Sometimes it's gonna be on front next to the input, but with a lot of mixers, the input might be here, and the volume might be somewhere on top of the mixer. So you need to be able to find that. But that's what you need to know when it comes to the mixer. You will have your channel strips. You need to know where your gain is. You need your EQ. You need your faders, your crossfader, maybe a crossfader assigned if you have more than 2 channels. The Q buttons, very important to hear on your headphone, headphone input, headphone levels, and your monitor level to use the monitor speakers. And of course your master level. But on most mixers, all of this and the master are gonna be in the same spot. Easy to recognize. Now when it comes to the players, it's gonna be a little bit different because every player is gonna be a little bit different and has more or less features. I'm using the most basic thing right here because the turntable has almost no features. But the most important features that you need for mixing are that button right there, start, stop, so I can start the player, start the song, and stop. And this is the most essential part when it comes to especially beat matching. That's your tempo fader, your pitch fader, pitch slider, whatever you want to call it. And this is what you use to manipulate the tempo of the track. If you want to mix this song into the song that's already playing, you have to get them to be at the same tempo. You have to sync them. And this is what you use. So that's what you use to speed up or slow down songs. So basically, start, stop, and pitch are the two most important things on any player. Now, of course, a lot of the CD players and the controllers will have an entire section that's dedicated to hot cues and starting loops and changing the loop size, and they will have a little button for the master tempo so you can lock the key lock, master tempo. All of those functions are cool, and I will get into all those functions because for me, they're not on my player, but they're inside my software, and I can adjust all of those things, and I either do it by using the laptop or using an extra external controller. A lot of times, I don't have them on right now, but I have them right here though. When it comes to like the cue points and the loops, I use a very little MIDI controller that goes on top of the turntable. So now, as people have their hot cues on their CDJs, I have my hot cues right here, and I can start my loops right here and my loop roll, and I can even use this to trigger my effects and my samples and everything. But for the basic mixing, none of that is essential yet. So that's gonna be for later videos. So guys, I hope that helps you out, and you can probably imagine that it's not possible for me to go into detail about every function on every piece of hardware out there. That's why I'm stressing the fact that you should be able to recognize all the basic features, the main features that you need to be able to mix on any equipment. When it comes to the stuff that you're using at home, you're gonna have to do that extra research yourself. Check the manual, check YouTube. There's a load of videos online covering a lot of different DJ devices out there. And that should help you out. If you have any questions, you can always ask me, DJTLMTV at DJTLM.com. And I did not talk about DJ software today. And of course, you can do tutorials about that as well. And I do have my Serato Scratch Live tutorial series for that. But the thing is, if you're practicing at home and you're using Serato, you're not gonna go to a club and find out that they have Tractor and that suddenly you have to play with different software. No. If you're playing with DJ software, then you're bringing your own laptop and you're playing with your own software. So it's not the same as the hardware story that I was talking about in this video. So if you're looking for my specific Serato tutorials, you can check those on my channel. And hopefully in the future, I can do some Tractor tutorials as well, but I don't have Tractor. The next video is going to be about beat matching, so get ready for that. Make sure you think about the first step, so know your equipment and know your music. Beat matching is up next. I'll be back really soon. If you enjoyed the info, click like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Check DJTLMTV.com and practice. Share the knowledge, yo. I'm out.